Party Chair Dalmini, and I'm Manny, the pizza man. Why are we here today? We have an important message for the conservatives all over in the district that Kyle is running for Congress. So Kyle, to explain in a few words, it's an important message for Election Day. We have to vote for a great president of the United States, save our country from socialism, and we need every vote to count, especially on the conservative line. So please pay attention and listen to what they have to say.
My name's Kyle Vanderwater, and I'm the guy that's going to end up kicking Antonio Delgado right out of New York 19. You got to vote for me, and I understand the Conservative Party. I love the Conservative Party, and in fact, the New York State Conservative Party has endorsed me. So, the problem is, on the line, there is no conservative line right now for this race. And I know it's going to be difficult because you rest heartily on your values, and I respect that big time. This time, you got to eat it and just vote for a Republican. Kyle Vanderwater. It's mano y mano. Antonio Delgado as a Democrat, Kyle Vanderwater as a Republican. That's it. The other lines are not there. So that's the only way. If you try to write me in, it will negate that vote, and that's the last thing we need. We need every single vote, and I respect and love the conservatives. Look me up online, Kyle from New York, ny19.com, and you'll see how conservative I am.
What he said. Remember it, it's very important. Democrat, Republican, here's our Republican man.
Kieran?
Well, I'm very proud to have the most conservative record in the New York State Assembly. And if you are a conservative with a small c, or you're a member of the Conservative Party of New York State with a capital C, your candidate in the 19th Congressional District is this man right here, my fellow U.S. military veteran, Kyle Vanderwater. You can vote for him on the Republican line. If you want to change Washington, D.C., if you want to change in the 19th Congressional District, if you want to send an ally of President Trump to Washington, D.C., if you want to send a liberal like Antonio Delgado packing, you have to vote for Kyle Vanderwater, and the place to vote for him is on the Republican line, whether you're Republican, conservative, or independent.
Don?
Listen, we have to take Congress back. As a member of the State Conservative Party Executive Committee, we supported Kyle. 3 weeks ago, we put a press release out with quotes from chairmen from all 11 counties, or is it 12 counties, Kyle?
All 11, sir.
All 11
Yes,
counties
sir.
in supporting Kyle. You got to give it a shot, guys. You got to vote on the Republican line. I know some of you, it hurts to do that. I can understand that as a conservative, but it has to be done. You have to vote for Kyle on the Republican line. It's the only way we're going to do it. We have to take Congress back. It's very important.
Kyle Vanderwater, that's the man.
God bless you and God bless America.
God bless
guys.
New York 19.
Great job.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a moment of silence for the men and women that are fighting for us, for our freedom here today. Never forget 9/11/01, and remember that special someone that can't be with us today. Thank you. We're going to introduce a whole bunch of people. And as we call their names, just come up and then they're all going to talk. It'll take about 3 hours. So don't worry about it. One thing, let's thank Jamie and the Pawling GOP. Ulster, where's Tommy? Tommy Merlin. Where is Tommy from Ulster County? They supplied everything, and feel free to take anything home you want. All right, we're going to start off. I'm going to introduce the mayor of the village of Pawling. Where is he? Mayor, stand up. Our supervisor, James. I'm going to introduce somebody that has no political experience whatsoever. I'm going to introduce Mr. Tomasetti and his wife. Please stand. Thank you very much. All right. I'm going to say a little bit about some of them. Dean Michael, where's Dean? Run against Dee Dee Barrett. Running for assembly, great guy, great pick. I'm glad he's there. Don Minnie, chair of the Conservative. Judge, where are you, Richard? Where is he? Stand up. Supreme Court judge. Running for Senate. This guy works hard. He's been doing a great job. Rob Astorino. Our Assemblyman, there's nobody better than Assemblyman Lalor. Kieran. This guy's got a tough race, and he's always out there. Any political arena he's in, he works hard, he's for us. And I want to tell you, there's nobody better than Judge Peter Forman. Where is he? And those of you, our Second Amendment is at stake this time around. And we have 44,000 pistol permit holders in Dutchess County. He doesn't sign them all, but he signs a lot of them. And he's always there for us. And you have to remember that. If you have any faith in law enforcement, or if you own a gun, or if you shoot, anything at all, this is a very big, big time for us. Because that Second Amendment is up for grabs, and they're looking to take it away from us. Yeah, you're right, Tommy. You're right. Let's see who else we've got sneaking. Where's Manny? Manny, come on up. Manny's a pizza maker. So you have to remember that with the Conservative Party. Manny's Pizza over in Hopewell. All right, I think we've got everybody that's on the elected team. But I want to tell you first, our county exec's here. And I want to tell you, this is a young man. I've known him since he was the youngest mayor in the whole world and all that horse crap. But then he was an assemblyman, and then he did a few other things. But here's a guy that gets it. He works for everybody. He's like, you take the county exec, you take the judges, the sheriff. We work for everybody. We work for everybody. And in today's arena, just because we have Republican or conservative in front of us, they're looking to knock us down any way they possibly can. And it's terrible, it's deplorable what they're doing down in Washington. Mr. T is attacked every single day. Every day he is attacked by the other side. If he finds this, if they come up with a cure for this virus, he's gonna be blamed for something. The wrong needles, the wrong cocktails, the wrong something. But they all work very hard, and try to do the best that they possibly can for everybody. But nobody can get a break. But I'm gonna bring our county exec up for a second. And let him explain what he's up against as the county exec. We outnumber the Democrats on legislators, not by many, but they still attack. And Judge Forman's brother's here. He used to be a legislator. He can tell you the same thing. Attack. And they were good people. And that's to treat people the way you want to be treated. And that's the way we should do it. But it doesn't work always that way. I got people out there every morning that I go in that office, and Michael's here will tell you. First calls from the ACLU. Second calls from the NAACP. Then we have Black Lives Matter. We have United Students of Action. and another group out of Binghamton. We've had 32 protests in Dutchess County. It cost an astronomical amount of money for our men and women to be there, to keep everybody safe. We've had one incident, one. Yes, it was serious to the victim, but our men and women moved right in, broke it up, and moved them on. And you see in the paper, my men and women are marching the group, the protesters, down the street with signs in front of them. F the cops, get rid of the cops, defund the cops, and it's my men and women that are protecting them as they're walking down the street. But you have in Dutchess County one of the finest law enforcement agencies you could ever find, and they're the best. And with this virus, the money that has been out that didn't come in, sales tax and what we're going to be in the hole with. This is the guy that's got to deal with it. And it's not his fault. And all the money for overtime and things like that to keep this county safe, it's not his fault. It's nobody's fault here. But he's done a hell of a job for all of us. And I really have a lot of respect for Marcus, and I appreciate everything he does. Your county exec, Marcus.
The sheriff and I have known, well, you've known the sheriff longer than anybody, the town and village of Pawling, but we go back quite a number of years. That might have been the nicest you've ever been to me, and I'm going to remember it. I know, I'm going to remember it. I want to echo that. I have the deepest sense of admiration and greatest amount of respect for Sheriff Anderson and the men and women in the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office. And make no question, there is no question about it. They, like countless men and women across this country, provide for our safety and security every day. And it is because of their sacrifice that we are able to live in a community, this one, that is as safe and as free and, well, as safe as it can be. And it's because the Sheriff's Office and the leadership of the Sheriff and the Undersheriff, and we're grateful for that. I'm not going to tell you about our woes in Dutchess County. We're here to recognize a good number of candidates that need to win this November. But what I will tell you is, what I've been saying consistently, is that accountability is on the ballot this November. And so whether it's sending Pete Forman back to the county court bench, we need someone we don't have to worry about. Somebody we can count on the bench here in Dutchess County. And they think that they're going to steal it away because it's a presidential election. But the truth of the matter is no one cares more about the people who come before him or the people who have to interact with him. No one cares more deeply about the safety and security of this county from that bench than Judge Forman. And it's critically important we get him reelected. No one stands more firmly on principle in the New York State Legislature than Kieran Lalor. I know this because Kieran and I don't always agree. My wife and I don't always agree, and I really love her. I like him. But what I can tell you is, saying that out loud, Albany needs people who are willing to stand firm, who aren't going to back down simply because the majority manipulates the outcome. And Kieran has consistently done that. And some of you think he's got an easy race. No race this year is easy, as we were talking before. Who knows what's going to happen? So it's important that we get out there and support him as well. And I know that we're honoring, and not honoring, but recognizing Kyle Vanderwater. It is critically important this district has somebody who knows the district. Someone who's actually lived in the district, who's breathed this district, who understands the community and the people of this district. It is critical that we have a congressional representative who understands the challenges of upstate New York. Farmers and families, small businesses that are shuttered, kids who aren't going off to school today. Someone who will recognize that upstate matters. And Kyle Vanderwater is that person. And we're going to have to reach out to Republicans and Democrats and tell them they've got to come to the table and they've got to make sure they vote for Kyle. Now, accountability is on the ballot in the state of New York, and I'm going to introduce the next speaker by saying this. You might know this, ran for governor in 2018. I came in second. Although I gladly accept the title of governor of the upstate New York. The reason it's easy to say that is because Andrew Cuomo abandoned upstate New York. He did it before COVID. Let's be clear. This state was facing a $6 billion... I'm
going to save you.
Is it a murder hornet?
Not anymore, you're awesome.
Listen, I was bit by a dog once. He ran around telling his friends that he's a politician, he's sour, don't bite him. I never got bit again. This state was staring at a $6 billion budget deficit before COVID. And the governor had the nerve, and the state legislature had the nerve to pretend as if they had no idea what was happening. No idea. They were running this state government off the tracks years ago. And when the state Senate, when we had our Republican majority, they weren't always doing the things we wanted all the time. But they were always standing up for common sense. They were always slowing down a state government that is reckless. And now we don't have that. We've got one party ruling Albany. In fact, these days, as the governor often says, the new motto of New York, which I would remind him was America's motto, E pluribus unum. Well, now in Albany, we have E pluribus Andrew. One party has conceded all, the legislature, majorities, conceded all of its authority to the governor, giving him enormous authority going into this budget cycle. They claim they didn't know we had a deficit. They balanced the budget on a hope and a prayer, and they haven't planned since. This state continues to tax more than any state in the country, continues to lead the nation in outward migration. More people leave New York to other states than any state in America. It's only gotten worse. Add to that, this is a census year. Fill out your census. In just a few short months, the state legislature is going to try to ram down your throats another amendment, another bill that come up for a vote that strips away the independent reapportionment that's supposed to occur next year. The Democrats are trying to take this process and eliminate the Republican minority so that they can write districts that will never give us a vote again. Let me tell you, I know Rob's opponent, seems like a nice fella, but I don't know what he stands for. Because the only thing that comes out of Albany is a rubber stamp to this governor and a Democratic majority out of New York City that doesn't seem to care about upstate New York. Doesn't care about families, farmers, and small businesses. Doesn't seem to care about the cost of living, the regulation, the burden. Doesn't seem to care about victims of crime or the people who are out in our streets protecting us. They don't care. And if we do not put our foots on the ground today, if we do not stand up today, if we do not demand accountability today, they will continue to run us out of town. The good, decent people struggling every day to make ends meet. So it is critically important that Rob Astorino gets to the state Senate. We have got to win seats in the Senate again. We've got to pick up more seats in the state Assembly. It is vitally important. And so I'm going to introduce Rob by telling you we can not only talk to our friends. You've got to go back out in the community, talk to Democrats and independents and others, and tell them they've got to vote and they've got to show up for our candidates, because these are the individuals who are going to stand up for us. They're not going to be a rubber stamp for downstate New York. The Speaker, the Senate Majority Leader, they have enough votes. They don't need any more. We need a voice. We need a vote, and we need to put Rob Astorino in the state Senate.
What Mark said. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you inviting me here to Pawling, and I appreciate everything that you have done in the past for Terrence Murphy, and that you will do, I know, for me, coming up in 21 days or whatever the heck it is. We're in a battle. It's a dogfight. It's a crazy year. It can't get any crazier. Well, it probably can, and it will. And so we rely on Pawling and Beekman and Putnam County to really drive up our vote, because in Westchester, as you know, it's a whole different world. It is a Democratic county now, deep Democrat, but I did well there. I did well in my 2 terms as county executive, and won in areas where Republicans don't always win. And so we've got, I think, a real legitimate shot to win this. I like where we're at, but ultimately it comes down to people getting out to vote, and they're already voting now. So if you know people who are getting their absentee ballots, talk to them, as Marcus said, talk to them. Because we can't win. I couldn't win in 09 without Obama voters. I couldn't win in 13 without Obama voters crossing and voting Republican. And we need Biden voters to cross over and vote for me as well. So we're appealing to everybody in a true Republican sense, though. we're up against craziness right now in Albany, and I can tell you, Marcus, what the agenda is. It's the radical de Blasio New York City agenda that has taken hold in Albany. And that's why you get that crazy no cash bail, where literally violent offenders are being arrested, and before they're fully booked, they're already back on the streets, sometimes doing their same crime 2, 3, 4 times. So this nuttiness has to end. The taxes and the spending have to be brought under control. We can win it. We need your help. And I appreciate you inviting me here today. So thank you to this solid, wonderful, red town. And let's win it, and let's win it big. Sheriff, thank you.
Rob Astorino. Assemblyman, would you like to say a few words? That's enough.
I thought they were only going to let the Italian guy speak, but I guess make room for an Irish guy. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. You know, I'm here as part of a great ticket. Kyle Vanderwater, Rob Astorino, Judge Forman, Dean Michael. Hope to have him as a colleague in the Assembly in the district just north of mine. And what I really want to focus on is this man, the man who brought us together today. A man I knew before he was even in politics. Knew him as a very smart, very effective, very highly thought of litigator here in Dutchess County. Knew him as a man who served his country in the United States Army overseas in Afghanistan. Stood up when our country needed him. He's a family man. His beautiful family is here, running around, having a great day, enjoying a beautiful Pawling afternoon. There they are. I had 4 kids in 4 years, but you had triplets and then 1 more. So that's a family man right there. God bless. But this is a district we can win. This is a candidate that we can win with. Antonio Delgado, maybe he's a nice guy, maybe he's a Rhodes Scholar, went to Harvard or whatever, but he's not a Hudson Valley guy. He's not an upstate New York guy. He's a guy that wanted a congressional seat, so he manipulated his way in there and got a congressional seat, threw a ton of money from outside of the district, threw a ton of money from outside of the state in 2018 and beat John Faso. But President Trump in 2016 had big time success in this district. Kyle Vanderwater can be a part of that success. He can bring out more voters for himself. He can take advantage of the Trump voters, and he can win on November 3rd if we turn out ourselves, our family, and our friends. So let's do it for Kyle Vanderwater. I know you go to Washington. Do it for us. All the best, Kyle.
Our Assemblyman. Now, this young man came in my office, I don't know. January. Sits down, he says, I want to run for Congress. I said, oh, who are you? So the undersheriff knew him well and had warned me that he was coming in. Well, I followed this young man, I've listened to him, I've watched him, and really kind of said it all. He's a family man, loves his county, has a great job, and most of all, he tells it the way it is. And he's running against a guy that had money pumped into him from Hollywood, from all over. And he's got it again, by the way. It was, he filled his bank account again with outside money. Kyle's been all over this state. It's a big district that he's in. And everybody that I know, both Republican and conservative and independents, say he's quite a guy. Well, we've got to get the vote out for him. And we've got to work hard. We've got to get our families. We've got to get everybody out. Dutchess County can do it. Ulster County can do it. They're good people, solid people. And if you want a good congressman, Kyle Vanderwater.
Thank you, sir. I normally don't like to use these things, but when these powerful people come up here and they start talking, I feel like I got to use it now. All right? I want to thank the veteran band in the back. I want to thank you, sir, for putting this on, and thank everybody else, sir, for coming. I want to thank my beautiful wife and 3 of my 4 kids. The little 6-year-old isn't here right now, so thank you for coming. I want to thank everybody who has supported me so far. You all have done a lot for me, and I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. I will win, and I will never forget it. My name is Kyle Christian Vanderwater, and I'm the guy that's going to end up kicking Antonio Delgado out of New York 19. Come on, this is Pawling. I brag about Pawling all over New York 19, and I say how powerful you are in terms of being good red Republicans. So I'm going to say it again. My name's Kyle Christian Vanderwater. I'm the guy that's going to kick Antonio Delgado. Talk about 5 things. Number 1, I'm going to talk a little bit about me. 2, my policies. 3, why it matters. 4, I'm going to talk about you. And 5, I'm going to talk about 2 words. 2 words. I grew up, number 1, in Dutchess County. I'm a simple man who has a lot of common sense because I was raised by 2 quote-unquote independent parents. They really weren't. I think they only voted for Ronald Reagan once, and that was the only Republican, so they're pretty much Democrats. So I can talk to Democrats. I can work with them. My mother was a parochial school teacher for 42 years. And my old man who passed away worked in a rock quarry. And when I graduated from high school, he put me in that rock quarry. And he said, this is how you're going to learn what real work is. I'm just like you. My collar is blue. Even though I'm a lawyer, it's not white. It's a blue collar. I'm just like you. My parents could not afford to send me to college, so I did what my forefathers did. My father served in the Army. My grandfathers served in the Army. My great-uncles served in the military. World War II. So I followed in the footsteps and got an ROTC scholarship, and that's how I paid through my college. And I went to the rock quarry when I came home. Except one summer there was a girl up in Lake George, and I was up in a golf course up there bartending, but that was only once. The rest of the time I worked in a rock quarry. I graduated, I did real well. I got to kind of choose my own way. So I did a couple years in the reserves, and I didn't go to Harvard like my opponent, because his collar is white. I went to Albany Law School. I stayed near my home. And while I was there, I was in the reserves. I graduated, and I ended up getting a 8-year stint in the Judge Advocate General's Corps on active duty. Did a couple years in Missouri, in the middle of nowhere. Something special happened. My wife got pregnant with the triplets that are here with me today. Now, because we're in the middle of nowhere, they really couldn't deal with the pregnancy, so it was 2 hours away to the nearest facility. I said, guys, too high risk. So they said, what do you want to do? And I said, look, if you send me back home, I'll work at West Point. So I came back to New York 19, and I lived in Dutchess County, and we had our triplets in Vassar. Long story short, one of them, with my wife's permission and hers, had special needs, and she's my hero, and she's here today. She has gone through more than probably everybody combined in terms of surgeries. She is my hero, and she told me, go Dad, go win. So we had the triplets. I go to Afghanistan during the quote-unquote surge from President Obama. I come on back, and I say to my wife, one more shot, let's just try. So we went over to Fort Lewis, which is all the way on the other side of the country, because Seattle Children's Hospital there was good for my kids. That move turned to be too hard. Otherwise, I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't be here right now. I know I'm a lawyer. I'm just letting you know the greatest job in the world as a lawyer is being a Judge Advocate General officer. I would have stayed in for 30 years, but that move proved to be so hard, dealing with all the obstacles we had to with the medical system, that we decided it's time to go home after that tour. So we did. Now, I could have gone to Florida, I could have gone to Texas, I could have gone to Arizona, places where Republicans do pretty well. I didn't. I came back here to New York 19 because this is my home, it's my wife's home, and now it's my children's home. And I did it because I want them to live like I live. I want them to be around their grandparents. I want them to have beautiful fall days like this, with a nice breeze, in the Harlem Valley, in Dutchess County. And here I am. And I ran because I am sick and tired of the way Democrats with a one-party system in New York affect our lives. The bail reform is nonsense. There's discovery rules that I don't need to get into that are nonsense. And the tyranny of that government is ridiculous. And if we don't act now, I'll get to that, that's number 3, we're going to have a problem. Number 2, my 3 big things are, number 1, law and order. I'm not going to defund the police and law enforcement. I'm going to fund it. We are going to send billions of dollars to local law enforcement for more training, better equipment, and more personnel. The sheriff has been a big proponent for me. I've been endorsed by the troopers of New York State, and I've got the endorsement of the greatest sheriff in America, Sheriff Butch Anderson. Number 2, we're going to pump up the economy, and we're going to get back like we were prior to the COVID virus. We're going to have economic opportunity zones throughout New York 19, and we're going to support our local farmers by giving them incentives to sit there and produce more dairy. And number 3, we're going to reform the Obamacare. We're going to phase out Obamacare, and we're going to make all the insurance companies actually have to compete with us. If they want our business, they're going to have to lower their costs and give her better coverage. They've been taking advantage of you. You have been fooled. And if you're over 65, by the way, don't worry, nothing changes for you. You're good. I'm talking about everyone under 65. The prescription drug companies have taken advantage of you. My mother promised me, even though she's not a Republican, that I would fight to lower prescription costs, and I will. And I will do it for all of you. If she can buy a pill at 1/10 of the cost in Canada, she should be able to do it. Now you're going to sit there and say, well, that's not American. I don't care. It's not American that you get taken advantage of and she's paying 10 times the price than she should. So she's going to be able to buy that drug, and then all the prescription companies here are going to have to compete with that. That's going to lower costs. Capitalism works, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we're here. Those are my 3 big things. Now I'm going to tell you, number 3, why it matters. If you do not vote for me, and if you do not vote for Donald Trump, and you have Biden, Harris, and Delgado, you will have a socialist country. I am not a fearmonger. I'm the opposite. But I will tell you 3 facts. Number 1, Chuck Schumer said it a couple nights ago. They're going to take 50 states, that flag right there, and they're trying to change it. And they're going to add 3 more. District of Columbia, 2 more senators, 1 more congressman. They're not going to be red. Puerto Rico, 2 more senators, at least 2 more congressmen. And they're even talking about splitting California in half. 2 more senators, and God knows how many more congressmen. Then they're going to pack the courts. Why can't Harris and Biden answer the question? Because they're going to pack the courts. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. And 3, this is the scariest one, because of this mail-in balloting, guess what happens if the Supreme Court does not act by January 6th? Congress gets to vote who the next president of the United States of America will be. Who do you think that's going to be? I'll open it up. Go ahead, anyone.
Nancy Pelosi.
Maybe Nancy.
Crazy Nancy.
Kieran Law.
No, not you. Andrew Cuomo. They can vote for anybody. That's under the Constitution. All right, now number 4, I want to talk a little bit about you. I've been lucky enough to meet you. I've been lucky enough to be all over New York 19. There's 11 counties. It is bigger than the state of Rhode Island. And everywhere I go, I hear people tell me this: I'm afraid. They either say it publicly, and they raise their hand in pavilions like this, or they bring me to the side. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of the virus. I'm afraid of the rioting. And I'm afraid of my financial stability. And you know what? That's okay. I'm afraid too. It's okay. I walk out my door and I'm scared for the same reasons. But then I remember 2 words, and that's my number 5, and then we're all done, and I'm going to thank you for everyone coming. I walk out that door and I go on the campaign trail and I leave my family behind. And it's scary. But I say, no fear. No fear. That's my mantra, and that's the final 2 words that I come to. No fear. They want you to be afraid. They want you to be afraid. They want you to be afraid to vote. They want you to be afraid. We don't. We're going to defeat the virus. We're going to get back the economy. And we're going to make America great again.
That's right. That's right.
My name is Kyle Vanderwater. Vote for me. I've served for my country in the past, and I went to Afghanistan, and I'll be damned if I'm going to come back to my country and New York 19 and walk around scared. I am here for you. I have fought for you before, and I will fight for you again. So thank you all for coming, and thank you for everything you've all done for me. God bless New York 19, and God bless America.
Kyle Vanderwater. Before I introduce the GOP chair for the county, who's that with you?
I'm not with Commissioner Jury.
Commissioner Jurors. Amy. We have Tom Poughkeepsie chair here. And we have our GOP chair and the Commissioner of Elections. Judge, come up and say a couple words.
Good afternoon. I'm Judge Rich Guertin, Middletown City Court. I'm running for State Supreme in the 9th Judicial District, Dutchess, Rockland, Putnam, Westchester, and Orange counties. Not as many counties as Kyle, but there's still a lot. People focus on the executive and the legislative races, but they forget there's a 3rd branch of government. We need good judges, and we need them now. And all I'll say is this: if we don't vote, we're not going to get Peter in, we're not going to get me in, because we need to be there. And I'll just tell you my ballot position. President Trump is in the first column, I'm in the next one, right next to him, Republican, conservative, and Kyle, best to you.
Michael, come on up. The chair of the GOP of Dutchess County. Michael McCormick.
Who's the best sheriff in all of America? This man right here.
I'll hug him because I don't care about COVID because I know he's safe and I'm safe too. So you know what, let me tell you something. You know, my wife and I, Susan, we came out here for one reason. To support this man, Kyle Vanderwater. Because guess what? He needs our support. He needs everybody's support. And you know what? It's so critically important because he is the epitome of what it is this year. We are fighting forces that, guess what? We should not be fighting because they are not on our side any which way or at all. They are left beyond left. They are certainly not part of us. They're not part of, I'll be quite honest, they're not part of America. That's right. They are not part of America. They do not like America. And you know what? This man is going to go to Washington. He's going to make a difference for each and every one of us in this county and the other 10 counties that he will represent. It's so critically important that we get the vote out this year. Let me tell you something. Each and every one of us have a task this year. Each and every one of us. You know what? It's great that you're here. Love it. But guess what? You've got to get people out to vote. Without you doing your job, he can't do his job. Please, I implore you. You know, it's great. Rallies are wonderful. But when the rubber hits the road, it's the fact that you have to vote. Peter Forman, our judge, our county court judge. Thank you for being here, Peter. Let me tell you something. That man he's just an incredible judge. We're very fortunate in Dutchess County to have him as our judge, county court judge. He's keeping each and every one of you and your families safe. His opponent, I'll tell you right now, will not do that because she will be beholding to the leftist party that is really driving her forces right now. This man will do the right thing for each and every one of us for the next 10 years. God forbid that Peter's not there for us. He has to be there. But again, he needs each and every one of you to vote for him. Dean Michael is running against Dee Dee Barrett. Dee Dee, where is she? Let me tell you, where is Dee Dee? It's like, where's Waldo? And I'll tell you where Waldo is in terms of Dee Dee. She's in New York City. She could care less about this district. She wants the name. She wants to be assemblywoman. She does not care about us. She cares about the east side. You know what? I've seen video. You know, she really does really good shopping down in the city, but she does not shop in this district. Dean Michael will support each and every one of us in the assembly in New York State. Rob Astorino. The man is a legend in New York State. You know, let me tell you something. Rob is here again in our county. You know, we love you, Rob. And we love you to be part of us again. We love you to be here supporting and representing us in the New York State Senate. Because guess what? Again, he's here for the right reasons. Rob is here for the right reasons to make sure that each and every one of us is protected at the Senate. Sue Astorino is the other part of our county. Sue's in the fight of her life. Rob is in the fight of his life. Because again, this is going to be an 80+% year. 80% plus will vote in this election. We in Dutchess County are down now by a considerable amount of people in terms of D/R. But you know what? It makes a difference if you get your people out to vote. And Judge, you're gonna, let me tell you, you got a great race with the counties. But you know what? And you're working your tail off. And you know what? I got a funny feeling that on November 3rd, it's gonna be an amazing night for you. Thank you so much. And we have a warrior in our midst. His name is Kieran Lalor. Right there. You know what? Kieran takes no prisoners when he runs for anything. He told me a story that, I forget who it was. Who was the first guy you ran against, or ran against you? Paul Kieran. So Paul became what did he become in his church? An elder, right?
Rector, something.
So Kieran goes, well, I'm going to join that church because I can take him out again. And he was serious when he said, I'm like, oh my gosh. So let me tell you, this man works very tirelessly in terms of when he goes to war, in terms of this whole year like this is for election.
Thank you, Kieran, for your...
I love Kyle's, what he just said before. I fought for you once before, I'm going to fight for you again, just like Kieran Lalor. Thank you so much. Just leave you with this, and say it again, vote, vote, vote. Because they're going to vote, vote, vote. your people you know, your loved ones, your family, your friends, anyone you know, get them out to vote for us. Because if they don't, we can't have these great representations in our legislature, in our state, in Washington. It won't happen without your help and support. Do what you have to do, please. Thank you very much.
Mike McCormick. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Jamie. Jamie did a hell of a job getting people here. Does a good job as our chair. We've got to get out more. We've got to get more people that are interested in the committee. Anybody that is, see this guy as great leadership. Thank you very much. Jamie.
One last time, let's give our hands for Butch, our hometown sheriff. All right, everybody, you know who to vote for, so let's turn this over to the veteran brass. Got another 40 minutes. Please eat. There's a lot of food.
Thank you.
Kyle.
Thank you, Tommy.
Hope to see you next year. Thank you, everybody. Okay.